Is there anyone who's a part of our church right now who that you see their social media feed and it drives you crazy? It's okay, I won't tell them. You see a post and you wonder what in the world are they thinking? Maybe it's not somebody in our church community, but a friend or a family member. And they swear that they're a follower of Jesus. But for the life of you, based on the things that they say or the things that they post, you can't understand it. You don't see it. Prior to the start of this year, I think most of us would have said that this is one of the most divisive and contentious times in the history of our nation. And that was before March, before COVID and the economic downturn, before the killing of George Floyd and the subsequent, or the protests that ensued. I know that there have been other trying times in our nation, but this one ranks up there. For a country, division is one thing, but for the church, division cuts to the core of who we are. Division robs us of our capacity to reflect our triune God as a loving and united community. In his letter to the Corinthians, Paul simply asks the question, is Christ divided? If not, the church that is Christ's body must not be so. In Philippians chapter 2, Paul has some challenging words for us. There he says this, if then there is any encouragement in Christ, any consolation from love, any sharing in the Spirit, any compassion and sympathy, make my joy complete. Be of the same mind, having the same love, being in full accord and of one mind. Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility regard others as better than yourselves. Let each of you look not to your own interest, but to the interest of others. Encouragement and love, sharing in the Spirit, which is fellowship, compassion and sympathy. These are all things experienced by followers of Jesus, particularly in the midst of Christian community. Paul is saying if you are in Christ, demonstrated by the experience of these things, which presumably we are and we have and do, then live this way. As I said last time, Paul's beginning to depict in chapter 2 what it looks like to live as a kingdom citizen worthy of the gospel. This is what the ordered life of a kingdom community looks like. I want to unpack this idea more in the next devotion or two. I'm still wrestling with what it means to have the same mind, same love, to be of one accord with that brother or sister in Christ who's posting the kinds of things that just makes me crazy. Clearly, it can't be renouncing our deepest held convictions and embracing theirs, can it? I don't think so. And while we work this out, I think that there are a few objectives that we could start with. A couple of practices. I mean, what if we as followers of Jesus pursued being the best listeners? Not listening in the way where we're just waiting our turn to prove our point or win the argument, but listen because we want to understand, because we want to learn. What if those we disagreed with felt like in the conversation we were present? We cared for them regardless of where they came down on the issue. What if as a church we were seen as the very best at disagreeing with one another? That we could talk about things that were important, that we could disagree and still love each other and break bread with one another. I look forward to sharing more. I look forward to working on this together. God bless you, church.